Senne Lammens, the goalkeeper change that saved Ruben Amorim's season. Welcome to United News, your home for everything Manchester United. When you need to know what is really happening at Old Trafford, when you want analysis that goes beyond the surface, when you are looking for a community of passionate Red Devils who understand what this club means, you come here. We do not just report the news. We live it, breathe it, and feel it just like you do. Today, we have a story that every United fan has been waiting to hear. A story about a decision that should have been made weeks ago, a goalkeeper who finally got his chance, and a performance that might just have saved Ruben Amorim's job. This is the story of Senne Lammens and the debut that changed everything. The victory everyone needed. Let me start with the result that mattered most. Manchester United 2, Sunderland 1. 3 points. First clean sheet of the season. A performance that finally showed some fight, some quality, some hope. After weeks of frustration, after defeats and disappointments, after watching the team struggle week after week, United fans finally had something to celebrate on Saturday night. But this was more than just 3 points. This was a potential turning point. This was the moment when Ruben Amorim finally made the decision everyone had been screaming for him to make. This was the night when Manchester United remembered how to keep the ball out of their own net. And at the heart of it all was a 23-year-old Belgian goalkeeper making his Premier League debut. A young man who most United fans barely knew a few weeks ago. A deadline day signing who had been sitting on the bench watching Altay Baynder struggle week after week. His name is Senne Lammens, and he might just have saved Manchester United's season. The question everyone was asking. Before we dive into Lammens' debut, let me take you back to the question that had been driving Manchester United fans crazy for weeks. Why on earth was Altay Baynder still playing in goal? Seriously, this was the question on everyone's lips. Every fan could see that Baynder was not good enough. Every pundit was questioning the decision. Every match showed more evidence that United needed a change between the posts. Baynder had started every Premier League game this season. And in every single one of those games, he looked out of his depth. He made mistakes. He looked nervous. He did not command his area. He did not inspire any confidence in the defenders in front of him. United conceded goals in every match. 6 games played, 0 clean sheets. The defense looked shaky, disorganized, and uncertain. And while you could not blame all of that on the goalkeeper, having someone unreliable between the posts definitely made things worse. Meanwhile, United had sent Andre Onana out on loan to Trabzonspor. Onana was not perfect last season, but he was significantly better than Baynder. The decision to loan him out while keeping Baynder as first choice made absolutely no sense to anyone watching. And then there was Senne Lammens, the deadline day signing, sitting on the bench game after game, watching, waiting, wondering when he would get his chance. The frustration among fans was real. Why sign a goalkeeper if you are not going to play him? Why persist with Baynder when it clearly was not working? What would it take for Amorim to make a change? Well, finally, after 6 matches of stubbornness, Ruben Amorim made the decision everyone had been waiting for. Amorim finally makes the right call. The team sheet for the Sunderland match dropped, and there it was. Senne Lammens was starting in goal. Altay Baynder had been dropped. The reaction among United fans was immediate and joyful. Finally, Amorim had seen sense. Finally, he had made the change that was so obviously needed. But let me be honest with you. This decision was about 6 weeks too late. Baynder should never have started the season as first choice. And once it became clear he was not up to the task, the change should have been made immediately. Instead, Amorim persisted. He kept faith with Baynder game after game, even as the evidence mounted that it was not working. This stubbornness cost United points, cost them clean sheets. It added to the pressure and the crisis atmosphere around the club. So while we celebrate Amorim for finally making the right decision, we also have to question why it took so long. Good managers make tough calls when they need to. They do not wait until they are in crisis mode before changing things that clearly are not working. But you know what? Better late than never. Amorim made the change, and it paid off immediately. Who is Senne Lammens? For many Manchester United fans, Senne Lammens was a mystery. Who was this goalkeeper signed on deadline day? Where did he come from? Was he any good? Let me give you some background on the man who made his Premier League debut against Sunderland. Lammens is a 23-year-old Belgian goalkeeper. He came to United as a relatively unknown quantity, not a big-name signing that generates headlines and excitement. He was brought in quietly, almost as an afterthought in the transfer window. This is not a goalkeeper with an established Premier League reputation. This is not someone who cost tens of millions of pounds. This is a young shot-stopper who was given a chance to prove himself at the highest level. And that is actually part of what makes this story so interesting. United did not need to spend huge money on a proven goalkeeper. They just needed someone who could do the basics well. Someone who could catch crosses, make saves, and not make costly mistakes. Lammens may not be the long-term solution for Manchester United. He may not be the world-class goalkeeper that a club of United stature should have. But he is better than Bayender. And sometimes that is all you need. The atmosphere at Old Trafford. Here is something that tells you everything about the goalkeeper situation at Manchester United. When Senne Lammens made his first save against Sunderland, the Old Trafford crowd erupted in cheers. Think about that for a moment. A goalkeeper making a save should be routine. It should be expected. It should not generate wild celebration from 70,000 fans. But that is how bad things had become. United fans were so starved of competent goalkeeping that every save, every catch, every routine piece of goalkeeping was met with relief and joy. The MUTV commentary mentioned that every save and collection from Lammens was cheered by the Old Trafford faithful. That is not normal. That should not be necessary. But it speaks volumes about what fans had been enduring for the past 2 years. First with some of Onana's shaky moments last season, then with Bayender's struggles this campaign, United fans had been subjected to questionable goalkeeping for too long. The bar had been set so low that basic competence felt like brilliance. This is what happens when you do not have a reliable goalkeeper. The whole stadium becomes nervous every time the ball comes near your goal. Defenders start to panic because they do not trust the man behind them. The entire team plays with a sense of anxiety that should not be there. Lammens changing that atmosphere with his calm, assured presence was almost as important as the saves he made. The first clean sheet finally arrives. Manchester United kept a clean sheet. Read that sentence again and let it sink in. After 6 matches of conceding goals, after weeks of defensive chaos, United finally managed to keep the ball out of their own net for 90 minutes. This was huge, not just for the result, but for the confidence of the entire team. When you are conceding goals every single match, it affects everything. Attackers know they need to score multiple goals to win. Midfielders are always worried about covering back. Defenders are on edge constantly. But when you get a clean sheet, suddenly everything feels different. You know that one goal might be enough to win. You can relax slightly and play your natural game. The pressure eases just a bit. For Manchester United, this clean sheet was desperately needed. It showed that the defense could work. It proved that with the right goalkeeper behind them, the back three could actually keep teams out. Now, let me be fair here. Sunderland are not exactly an attacking powerhouse. They are a championship side who were always going to sit deep and defend at Old Trafford. United should have been keeping clean sheets against this level of opposition regardless of who was in goal. But you know what? United take what they can get right now. A clean sheet is a clean sheet. It counts the same whether you shut out Manchester City or Sunderland. The important thing is that the defense finally experienced what it feels like to go through a whole match without conceding. They can build on that. They can use it as a foundation moving forward. Lammens' key moment before halftime. While the Sunderland match was relatively comfortable for Manchester United, there was one moment where Senne Lammens had to prove his quality. Just before halftime, former Arsenal midfielder Granit Xhaka had a chance to score for Sunderland. This was a difficult shot, the kind that separates good goalkeepers from average ones. Lammens made the save. Clean, confident, assured. No fuss, no drama. Just good goalkeeping. This moment was important for several reasons. First, it kept United's clean sheet intact going into halftime. If Sunderland had scored there, the whole dynamic of the match could have changed. United's fragile confidence could have crumbled. Second, it showed Lammens could handle pressure moments. Making saves in a comfortable match is one thing. Making them when they really matter is another. Lammens passed that test. Third, it sent a message to the defenders in front of him. They could trust this goalkeeper. When they needed him to make a save, he would be there. That trust is absolutely crucial for a defense to function properly. After 6 matches of not being able to rely on their goalkeeper, this was exactly what United's defenders needed to see. The absolute cannon in the 79th minute. But here is where things get really interesting. Here is where Senne Lammens showed something that could become a genuine weapon for Manchester United. In the 79th minute, Lammens launched a goal kick long. And I mean really long. The ball flew halfway into the Sunderland half. It was an absolute missile, a rocket, a cannon blast that covered a huge distance. The MUTV commentator, Liam Bradford, was amazed. He said, "Tell you what, he's got a hefty kick on him. That's ended up halfway in the Sunderland half. An absolute cannon attached to his right leg." Bradford was so impressed that he added, "That is definitely a weapon for Manchester United. The long ball from Senne Lammens." Now, you might be thinking, so what? A goalkeeper kicked the ball far. Big deal, right? Wrong. This could actually be really important for how Manchester United play. Why Lammens' long kick matters. Let me explain why having a goalkeeper who can launch the ball huge distances is actually a significant tactical advantage. In modern football, teams press high. They try to win the ball back quickly when the opposition has possession. This means goalkeepers often face pressure when they have the ball, with opposition forwards closing them down quickly. If your goalkeeper cannot kick the ball far, you have 2 options. Either you try to play out from the back with short passes, which is risky under pressure. Or you kick it long but it does not go far enough, and the opposition wins it back easily. But if your goalkeeper can launch the ball 60 or 70 yards with accuracy, suddenly you have a third option. You can bypass the press completely. You can get the ball quickly to your attackers. You can create chances from goal kicks. For a team like Manchester United, who have fast, skillful attackers, this could be really valuable. Imagine Lammens launching the ball towards someone like Amad Diallo or Marcus Rashford. They use their pace to get in behind. Suddenly United are attacking when the opposition thought they had United pinned back. This is what Bradford meant when he called it a weapon. It gives United another tactical option. Another way to hurt opponents. Another tool in the toolkit. Add to that the fact that Amorim has been struggling to get his team to play out from the back effectively, and having a goalkeeper who can just launch it long when needed becomes even more valuable. Sometimes the simple solutions are the best ones. The complete performance statistics. Let me give you the full picture of Lammens' debut by looking at his statistics from the match. He made 3 saves. Not a huge number, but he made them cleanly and confidently when called upon. That Xhaka save before halftime was the pick of them. He claimed 2 high balls into the box. This shows he is willing to come off his line and take command of his area. This is something Bayender rarely did effectively. He was called into action as a sweeper once, rushing off his line to clear danger. Again, this shows good reading of the game and bravery to leave the safety of the goal when needed. He made 52 touches on the ball. This is quite high for a goalkeeper and shows he was heavily involved in United's build-up play. He was not just standing between the posts hoping nothing would happen. Overall, the statistics paint a picture of a goalkeeper who was calm, composed, and competent. Nothing spectacular, nothing that will win him individual awards, but everything a team needs from their shot stopper. And for Manchester United right now, that is exactly what was required. Other key changes Amorim made. While the goalkeeper change was the most important decision Amorim made for the Sunderland match, it was not the only one. Casemiro returned to the midfield after serving his suspension. His experience and calmness helped United control the game. This was the kind of match where Casemiro's qualities shine. Against better opposition, his weaknesses might be exposed, but against Sunderland, he looked assured. Amad Diallo also returned to the starting lineup after missing the Brentford match due to his family bereavement. Amad brought energy and creativity to United's attack. He looked dangerous every time he got the ball. His return was a big boost. Mason Mount was another player who came into the team and made an impact, even getting on the scoresheet. Mount has struggled with injuries since joining United, but this match showed what he can offer when fit and confident. These changes added up to a team that looked more balanced, more threatening, and more organized than the one that lost at Brentford. Amorim deserves credit for getting his selection right this time. But make no mistake, the goalkeeper change was the foundation that everything else was built on. What this means for Altay Bayındır. So where does this leave Altay Bayındır? Is his Manchester United career over after just 6 matches? The honest answer is probably yes. Once you get dropped for poor performances, it is very difficult to win your place back. Especially when your replacement comes in and immediately keeps a clean sheet. Bayındır will likely spend the rest of the season as a backup option, maybe getting the odd game in cup competitions. But his chance to establish himself as United's first-choice goalkeeper has gone. This is not meant to be cruel to Bayındır. He seems like a nice guy who worked hard, but the reality is he was not good enough for this level. Premier League goalkeeping is unforgiving. If you are not up to the task, you get found out quickly. The bigger question is why United signed him in the first place if they were not confident he could do the job. And why did they persist with him for 6 matches when it was clearly not working? These are questions the recruitment team and Amorim need to answer. Can Lammens be the long-term solution? Here is the big question every United fan is asking now. Is Senne Lammens good enough to be Manchester United's goalkeeper for the rest of the season and beyond? The honest answer is we do not know yet. One good performance against championship opposition does not make you the long-term answer at a club like Manchester United. Lammens will face much sterner tests in the coming weeks. He will play against top Premier League attackers who will really examine his shot-stopping, his positioning, his decision-making. That is when we will find out what he is really made of. But here is what we do know. He is better than Bayındır. He gives United a better chance of keeping clean sheets. He seems calm under pressure. And he has a useful long kick that could become a tactical weapon. For now, that is enough. United do not need Lammens to be world-class. They just need him to be solid and reliable. If he can do that, United can start building some defensive stability. And if he proves not to be good enough long-term, well, United can address that in the next transfer window. They can bring in a top-class goalkeeper who can take them to the next level. But for now, for this season, Lammens has given United a platform to build on. The bigger picture for Amorim. Let me zoom out and talk about what this victory and this goalkeeper change means for Ruben Amorim's future at Manchester United. Make no mistake, Amorim was under serious pressure going into this match. 2 wins from 6 matches is a terrible start. A defeat to Sunderland would have been a disaster that might have cost him his job. But United won. They kept a clean sheet. The team showed some fight and quality. And Amorim finally made the tough decision to change goalkeepers. This buys him time. Not a lot of time, but enough to try to turn the season around. The pressure is still there, but it is not suffocating anymore. However, we need to be honest about something. Amorim should not need a crisis to force him into making obvious decisions. The goalkeeper change should have happened weeks ago. His stubbornness in sticking with Bayındır was poor management. Good managers make tough calls when they are needed, not after they have already dropped points because of bad decisions. So while we celebrate this victory, we also need to hold Amorim accountable for the decisions that led to the crisis in the first place. What comes next for Manchester United? The Sunderland victory was crucial, but it is only one match. One win does not solve all of United's problems. One clean sheet does not mean the defense is suddenly fixed. United now have an international break, which gives Amorim time to work with his players and continue building. This could be really valuable. Time on the training ground without the pressure of matches every few days. Time to work on organization, patterns of play, and understanding. After the international break, United face a tough run of fixtures. This is when we will really find out whether this victory was a turning point or just a brief moment of relief. Can Lammens keep up his good form against better opposition? Can the defense maintain this newfound solidity? Can the attack continue to create and score goals? These are the questions that will define United's season. The fan perspective. Let me talk for a moment about what this match meant to Manchester United fans. We have been through so much frustration this season. Every weekend has brought more disappointment. Every match has been stressful because we could not trust our team to keep the ball out of the net. Saturday night against Sunderland gave us something we desperately needed. Hope. Hope that maybe things can turn around. Hope that maybe Amorim is learning from his mistakes. Hope that maybe this season is not going to be a complete disaster. The cheers for every save Lammens made showed how low our expectations had fallen. But they also showed how much we care. How much we want this to work. How desperate we are for our club to succeed. That is what being a Manchester United fan means. Even when things are bad, even when we are frustrated and angry, we still turn up. We still support. We still believe. And when a young goalkeeper comes in and does his job well, when the team finally keeps a clean sheet, we celebrate like it is winning the league. Because right now, these small victories feel huge. Lessons learned. What can we learn from the Senne Lammens story and United's victory over Sunderland? First, managers need to be willing to make tough decisions quickly. Amorim waited too long to change goalkeepers. That stubbornness cost United points and increased the pressure unnecessarily. Second, sometimes the simple solutions are the best ones. United did not need a superstar goalkeeper. They just needed someone competent. Lammens provided that. Third, clean sheets build confidence. United's defense will feel so much better after finally keeping the ball out of their net. This can be a foundation to build on. Fourth, squad depth matters. United needed Lammens because Bayender was not good enough. Having options allows you to make changes when things are not working. Fifth, fans will support you if you show effort and competence. Lammens was not spectacular, but he did his job well. That was enough to win over the Old Trafford crowd immediately. The reality check. Before we get too carried away, let me provide a reality check. Manchester United beat Sunderland, a championship side, 2-1 at home. This is what should happen. This is the bare minimum expected from a club of United's size and resources. Yes, the clean sheet was great. Yes, Lammens looked solid. Yes, the victory was needed. But United should be beating teams like Sunderland comfortably every single time. The real tests are still to come. Premier League matches against good opposition. Away games at difficult grounds. Matches where United have to show quality, resilience, and tactical intelligence. Those are the matches that will determine whether this season can be salvaged or whether it will end in disappointment. Lammens' debut was promising, but he needs to maintain this level against much better attackers. The defense needs to keep building on this clean sheet. The team needs to show consistency week after week. One good performance is nice. A run of good performances is what United need. A message to Ruben Amorim. If Ruben Amorim is reading this, here is the message United fans want to send you. Thank you for finally making the goalkeeper change. It was overdue, but at least you made it. Now learn from this. When something is clearly not working, change it quickly. Do not wait until you are in crisis mode. You have bought yourself some time with this victory. Use it wisely. The international break is an opportunity to work with your players and continue improving. But remember, United fans have limited patience. We want to support you. We want you to succeed. But you need to show us that you are learning, adapting, and making good decisions. Keep Lammens in goal. He has earned the right to keep his place. Build your defense around him. Let them develop understanding and confidence. Make smart decisions about team selection. Get your best players in their best positions. Stop trying to fit square pegs in round holes. And most importantly, string together some wins. That is what will truly ease the pressure and give everyone confidence that this season can be successful. The goalkeeper position across football. The Lammens story also highlights something interesting about modern football. The goalkeeper position has become incredibly important to how teams play. In the past, goalkeepers just needed to make saves. That was their job. Stop shots. Catch crosses. Nothing more complicated than that. But in modern football, goalkeepers need to do so much more. They need to play with their feet. They need to start attacks. They need to read the game and act as sweepers. They need to command their area and organize the defense. This makes finding a good goalkeeper harder than ever. You need someone with all these skills, not just shot-stopping ability. Lammens showed against Sunderland that he might have the complete package. He made saves when needed. He claimed crosses. He kicked the ball huge distances. He acted as a sweeper when required. If he can maintain this level, United might have found themselves a real gem for relatively little money. Final thoughts on a crucial evening. The Sunderland match will be remembered as the night Manchester United finally got their first clean sheet of the season. The night Ruben Amorim finally made the goalkeeper change everyone had been demanding. The night a young Belgian called Senne Lammens announced himself to the Old Trafford faithful. Was it a perfect performance? No. Sunderland scored 1 goal, and United were not exactly spectacular going forward. But it was a solid, professional victory that gave everyone at the club a much-needed boost. Lammens deserves enormous credit for his debut. He came in under pressure, knowing that he had to be better than Bender. He delivered exactly what was needed. Calm, composed, competent goalkeeping that gave the defense confidence. The long kick that amazed the MUFC commentator might seem like a small thing, but it could become a genuine weapon for United. Having that option to bypass the press and quickly launch attacks gives Amorim another tactical tool to use. But let me be clear about one thing. This is just the start. One clean sheet does not fix all the problems. United need to build on this. They need to make clean sheets the norm, not the exception. Lammens needs to prove he can maintain this level. The defense needs to show they can be consistent. The team needs to start winning regularly. But for one night at least, Manchester United fans could smile. They could celebrate a clean sheet. They could appreciate a goalkeeper doing his job well. And sometimes that is all you need to spark a turnaround. Stay connected with Unite United News. Thank you for joining us here at Unite United News for this deep dive into Senne Lammens' debut and what it means for Manchester United's season. We know how much you care about this club. We know how invested you are in every match, every decision, every moment. That is why we are here, bringing you detailed analysis and honest opinions about everything happening at Old Trafford. Whether you agree with everything we have said or not, we appreciate you taking the time to read this. We encourage you to share your thoughts about Lammens, about the Sunderland victory, and about where United go from here. Keep checking back with Unite United News for all the latest updates, match analysis, and breaking news about Manchester United. We are your trusted source, your community, your home for all things Red Devils. The season is still young. There is plenty of time for United to turn things around. With Lammens now in goal, with a clean sheet finally on the board, with 3 points secured, maybe this really can be the turning point we have all been waiting for. Stay strong, stay loyal, and keep believing in Manchester United. Glory, glory, Man United. We are all in this together through the good times and the challenging times. That is what being a Red Devil is all about.